Just as an FYI, this video contains major spoilers for Scream 7, so if you haven't seen the movie, please click off this video and come back once you've seen the film. Otherwise, enjoy the video. Hello everybody, welcome to Wild Boy Movies, the place to talk movies, and this past weekend we had the release of Scream 7 in theaters, and with the movie now being out in theaters for a whole weekend and a lot of people probably have gone ahead and checked out the movie, I'm gonna go ahead and break down the ending of the movie, talk about the reveal of who Ghostface was and what the motive was, as well as my just kind of ranting off about this ending. But be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below your thoughts on the ending of Scream 7, as well as your thoughts on the reveal of who's Ghostface and what the motive was. And be sure to go ahead and check out my spoiler-free review for Scream 7 if you haven't already. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so the final act of this movie brings us back to the Evans household where Ghostface has gone ahead and kidnapped Tatum and brought her to that house where Sidney Prescott soon follows behind. And it's when she arrives in that house, on the TV we see Stu Macher taunting Sidney Prescott, but that isn't the only character that we got to see on that TV, because soon then Nancy Loomis shows up on that TV. I was not even expecting Nancy Loomis to even show up in this movie at all. Then Roman Bridger appears on the TV, which we knew he would be in this movie because he was reported way back earlier last year. And in the middle of the movie, I was like, when is Scott Foley showing up in this movie? And he appeared towards the ending. And I was fully expecting Joe Roberts to show up in that ending as well. But we didn't, and that's where Dewey then shows up in the movie, which same for Scott Foley. We knew he would be in the movie way ahead of time, and I was like, when is he showing up? And that then leads us to the backyard where Tatum is in the same position that Steve was in the very first Scream movie, and then we get the reveal of who Ghostface was in this movie. And it turns out to be none other than Jessica and Marco. And Jessica ended up being the mastermind, the main Ghostface killer of this movie, and her motive was because she read Sidney Prescott's book, Out of Darkness, and used the story of Sidney Prescott as inspiration to kill off her abusive husband, which she ended up getting away with. And she became completely consumed with Sidney Prescott, and she couldn't handle it, as she says in the movie, when she didn't go to New York to help out Sam and Tara with the Ghostface attack there, which in and of itself was a parallel to Neve Campbell not returning to Scream 6 due to some pay disputes. And with the assistance of Marco, which she met at the facility Sidney went to earlier in the movie, they planned to turn Tatum into the new Sidney Prescott.
Are you serious right now, bro?
Like, that motive right there is just absolutely terrible, and it's just like the worst motive that has been in a Scream movie. And I knew this going into the movie from the reviews that I saw, that the motive would be terrible. And yeah, it's just, I agree with those people. And what makes this Ghostface even more like confusing is, why would this character kill off her own son? And yeah, this was a character that I was honestly thinking would end up becoming Ghostface, and I thought he would have a pretty good motive for becoming Ghostface, but no, he wasn't, and he got killed off by his own mother. And Marco barely got any screen time in the movie before he was revealed to be Ghostface. So, like, these two honestly might just be my least favorite Ghostface killers of the franchise. In fact, I think Charlie Walker is a better Ghostface than Jess and Marco. Now, I honestly think that this motive could have been something good and really refreshing for the franchise, since this hasn't been a motive that we've seen in the franchise before. It's just been revenge, fame, or toxic fandom. Like, I think this motive could have been better if it was explained that Jess, after going ahead and killing off her abusive husband, became enticed with murder and decided to continue it on. That, I think, would have been a better motive for this movie, because yeah, I do kind of like the idea that this Ghostface is inspired by Sidney's life and her book Out of Darkness, but just essentially wanting Sidney's daughter Tatum to become the new Sidney Prescott is just where it completely falls apart for me. To where I agree with a lot of people saying that the motive in this movie was just pretty bad. And it's at this point in the movie where it's revealed that Ghostface in the movie used AI deepfake technology in order to bring back Stu Macher and all these other previous dead people throughout the Scream franchise just to torment Sidney Prescott. Making it 100% official now, Stu Macher is officially dead in the franchise. Now, I think this could have been a good commentary on the use of AI since it's becoming really popular nowadays, and I think it could have been a very good, like, psychological horror thing for Sidney Prescott, but I just felt like that this AI stuff that the Ghostface uses in the movie was just not that interesting to me. And while I was happy to see Matthew Lillard back in the role of Stu Macher once again, I just kind of felt like that this kind of should have been the direction that they went ahead and brought Stu Macher back in terms of the way that they executed it. Like, Scream fans have been wanting Stu Macher to return in the franchise for several years now, and I just kind of felt like that they kind of botched it a bit. Here's hoping though that the MCU doesn't waste Matthew Lillard in Daredevil Born Again Season 2. But still, I was unsurprised to find out that Stu Macher is still dead, all because of a certain TV-headed cult leader who got the same fate as Stu Macher. But it's during the monologue where we see Sydney's husband Mark, who is surprisingly still alive, set his daughter Tatum free, and it leads to a final confrontation and chase between Jess and Sydney and Tatum, to where both Sydney and Tatum end up killing off Jess in a pretty gruesome way, I will say, and Sydney finally telling Tatum the backstory of her name, before Gail then takes Sydney and Tatum to the hospital. Oh, and another thing to rant about, where was Gail out this? Like, she disappeared like halfway into the movie. And it also sucks that Mindy wasn't there for the monologue because she missed the previous two monologues of the previous Scream movies. And I was kind of hoping that she would be there for the monologue for this seventh movie. But honestly, that ending and the motive of why this Ghostface is going ahead and targeting Sidney Prescott really hindered my enjoyment of this 7th Scream movie and lowered it from what I would have given like an 8 out of 10 to where I ended up giving the movie a 7.5 out of 10. Oh well, at least the movie ended in a total banger way with that new Ice Nine Kills song, Twisting the Knife. But this is where I want to go ahead and leave it off to you guys. What do you guys think about the ending for Scream 7? Do you think the motive is as bad people are saying it is? And did the ending of the movie hinder your enjoyment for Scream 7? Go ahead and be sure to leave that down in the comments section. And while you're at it, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. And have a great day.